Hi, my name is Artie Fahie, and we're back at Bar Mills again, and what we're going to go over here is a brand new product put out by Northeastern Scale Lumber. Now you might say to yourself, why are we showing a product by another manufacturer? Well, the fact of it is this product actually started at Bar Mills, and we worked with Northeastern to develop it. What it is a brand new kind of a corrugated metal siding kind of material. And we've all seen this kind of material over the years, typically in aluminum. And of course, Leo Campbell pioneered this product many, many years ago. Now the problem has always been, it wrinkles, it crinkles, it's hard to lay flat. You have to use special adhesive to stick it to a surface, whether it's cardboard or wood or whatever you want to adhere it to. And it's very difficult to paint. It's very easy to chip and show a very metallic, bright, mirror-like surface if you're not extremely careful. And you can't be too careful with this kind of material. So we got together with the folks at Northeastern Scale Lumber, came up with a concept, and working with them, we've started including this new concept in some of our new kits, and they will have it available for sale through local retailers and Walters and places like that. So what we're going to do today is we have Mike Tylick with us, and he's going to show how he approaches using this product, and then I'll come back with a little bit more information. And we're going to basically introduce something that's brand new. It's fun to use. It's not available through Bar Mills unless you get it in one of our kits, but it will be available out there, and you really should give it a good look. So today, let's talk about aging and weathering what looks to be metal corrugated sheet siding.
Hello, I'm Michael Tylick. When I first saw this Northeastern Lumber product, I was enthusiastic. I always had a difficult time painting and gluing and working with the aluminum. However, this is a paper product and has all the beauties of painting a high-quality watercolor surface. At first we have a piece as it comes from the factory. Not much texture, doesn't look like much. Primer paint brings out some detail and seals it from moisture. This piece has been painted with white and gray to make a very light gray, which symbolizes and simulates very much galvanized iron. Here we have some rusty washes on one, just done with acrylic paints. To do something different, this piece I used watercolor paints, primarily browns and blacks and a little bit of orange. On this last piece, I tried something different. I painted this a green to simulate the fiberglass corrugated that you often see nowadays. A gloss surface over this would give you a rarely modeled but very commonly seen surface. One technique that was very effective was to use photo etchants to etch the metal. That frankly scared me, considering the chemicals that you have to use. But being paper, we don't have to worry about destroying our lungs and our bodies. We can just take a knife and dig away at the piece. I've found that pre-painting the piece works much better than using the piece before it is painted. And we dig away at this a little, and it's hard to really do this wrong. As you can see, we've chewed up the end pretty badly, but we've also left these ugly white edges. Those are easy to fix. We'll take a bit of watercolor, thinned out. Transparent watercolors never really become opaque, and just paint over the parts that are dug away. When this dries, it'll look fine. Watercolor's very forgiving while it's wet. You get a little too much on, you could wash it off. You get a little too little, you can make it a little thicker. I'm just using browns and blacks, and I've repaired the edges. These paper pieces will lie perfectly flat and can be glued with almost any glue you like, but if you wanted the piece to be curled, it's no problem to wet them and just train them around a paintbrush, and you can lift up some edges, you can curl them like this, you can twist them and distort them like that, and when they dry, they'll hold a distorted shape. If I were assembling a wall, I would cut pieces from the different panels I painted and put them together in a random order. This gives a great variety in discoloration and look. An easy way to affect the look of a very random wall very simply. Here we have a brand new piece because every once in a while a piece gets so bad that it has to be replaced.
Okay, well, Mike has discussed one way to approach building different scenes using this special corrugated material. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the techniques that I use, which vary just a little bit from Mike's, as we all find, we all find our own ways of doing things. And this time around, we're going to be taking a look at how we built and lettered and aged and weathered the fence in front of Higginbottom's. So right now, that's exactly what we're going to be speaking about. Okay, we all have our own ways of doing things. In this case, this is art and this is my way. As opposed to Mike's way, it starts the same. We always start with some primered gray spray paint, typically from Walmart, because it goes on very thinly, dries very quickly, and is very, very inexpensive. Now, once we've taken the material and primed it, we've taken a little bit of an extended step when it comes to making a fence. Now, you don't have to take this step if you're not adding some kind of lettering to your project. What we've done is we simply primed the piece gray, and then in this additional piece here you can see that we've actually gone over it with white paint. Now once the white paint is dried, we've added a self-adhesive stencil to the top of it. Now years gone by you would never think of taking a self-adhesive anything and putting it onto a piece of aluminum corrugated material, because when you went to lift off the stencil, you'd also be lifting off any paint under the stencil. That's no longer an issue. Now once the stencil is affixed, what you're going to want to do is take an X-Acto knife and chip away at the little connecting screws between the letters. At this point, essentially what you've been adding is some masking to a surface that's been painted white. Why white? Because that will represent the coloring of the lettering on the finished fence. Now the next thing we do is we grab our airbrush, in my case, and I go for some polyscale paint. Typically a combination of rust or tarnished black, or a combination of both, or even some weathering powders, whether they're from Bar Mills or from possibly Bragdon, who has a wonderful line out as well. And what you would start out with is this, after you've airbrushed it, and try to picture this having laid on top. You've already seen the finished results with the finished kit, so you pretty much have an idea where we're going here. And now you've effectively added some streaking and rusting looks to this piece of corrugated material. Now when this is done, you'll see obviously the lettering at this point will have been painted over as well, and you would lift the lettering off of the fence, in effect yielding white painted lettering underneath it. Now here again, if you don't want to do lettering, if you're not looking for that, obviously you don't have to. Now an obvious next step would be to take some weathering powders and scrape in some more character, especially over the white areas that were protected during the airbrushing. Now once that's done, typically what I would do is take an X-Acto knife, and as it is corrugated material, it's pretty easy to find a slot and just draw yourself up and literally break apart this material. You'll notice there are no shiny edges on this. There's nothing that will really have to be touched up. Okay, it's just a matter of getting a good clean edge, which I kind of missed on a little bit this time around, but it's very simple to do. Now typically what you do is you cut random panels. They don't have to be the same size, even though maybe they would be in real life. The fact of it is it looks really cool when they're really not the same size. And these panels here would be assembled on top of a fence base. Now this is a laser cut one that comes with one of our kits, but the same thing could be made by any modeler using just some strip wood and some vertical wood. And these panels would simply have some glue applied to their backs. Now here again, not being aluminum, we don't have to go with a contact cement or something exotic. All we have to do is use a little white glue or even yellow glue or whatever you'd like. Now typically what you would do is, as you remove these panels, you're going to want to mix these up when you put them against the fence. So you might take a panel all the way down here in the fence line, which has a slightly different coloration to it because of the random nature of the airbrushing that hopefully you did, and mix it over here. So what you're doing is you're not forming or keeping a pattern of your paint. Now, if you're doing a fence that has a sign, obviously you're going to have to keep the sequence the way the letters are on the sign, but that's not to say you can't cut the thing up and actually have spaces between each of the panels and add even more character to your fencing. If you've noticed on the finished model, we not only leave small spaces between some of the panels, but we've also glued some of the panels on the fencing behind it, so the panels were not exactly straight. They were a little bit twisted one way or the other way to give this fence a little bit of a rustic, kind of wind-blown and repaired again kind of a look. Is this simple? Yeah, it's real simple, and it wasn't so simple not so long ago. Here again, do we sell this product? No, but we think it's a great product, and we use it in our kits, and you're probably going to want to employ it in your modeling as well. Remember, this is available from Northeastern Scale Lumber in Methuen, Massachusetts. I'm afraid you're going to have to look up the phone number or at least check out the website to order this yourself. And until then, have a great time with your models. This is already Fahie from Bar Mills, and we'll see you again in the next clinic.